the place I had to count. In my sorrow, lost a part of me, but
Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2.
Era, check, check. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Too dramatic.
All right, y'all. We live.
Hell yeah.
Of course, gotta make sure we test everything. Y'all's able to hear us. Don't worry. And this is the full cam setup. We wanted to take it back to
The old days.
Yeah, the traditional settings. Good Lord, I just wanted to say that.
Don't worry. English isn't Englishing, and that's okay.
Yeah, it happens, but glad to be back on.
Yeah, we look good.
Wait, I have not done the intro.
Oh.
Just me. Okay. Sounds good.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm just saying we look good on camera.
Mic check.
Check.
Follow as you speak.
Yes.
Okay,
making
I
sure
can hear
the
you.
voice-
I'm gonna make sure I have the volume level up for whoever decides to call in. Like, if you're a fan of the podcast, you want to call in. Tonight is your night to call in, and I know
Hell yeah.
Butters wanted to call in, so
I know one of my boys, Johnny, wanted to call in as well.
hopefully they're watching, they're tuning in, and right now we are currently live, so we're gonna go ahead and talk about it. But before we do, we're gonna go ahead and start the show in 3, 2, 1. Good evening, everyone. What is going on? Episode 126 of the South Florida Gamers Podcast. I am your host, Silverback Senpai, and joining me across the table is none other than my co-host, Waluigi.
Long time no see, my dudes. How's it going? Happy Thursday. We have a lot to talk about. But
Yes.
Even though it's one subject, it's in multiple segments.
Yes, there is so much to talk about tonight because the fact that if you have not watched the Nintendo Direct that just happened on the 2nd of April, which was, I believe, Tuesday.
Yes. It was
If you
not
have
April Fools.
not watched that, and I've watched that from start to finish, boy, there was a lot of information that was revealed. Am I excited for this console? I honestly, I will say this. I am excited for the console. Don't get me wrong. Finally, we have a much better, a more improved version of the current Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
And it's going to come out this year in June, very soon, might I add. Usually when we get like a console announcement,
Usually it's like months ahead.
yeah, usually months in ahead, which would give a lot of people time in advance to pre-order.
But this
and
is like quick.
yeah, really quick. So
They weren't playing.
yeah, so we're going to go ahead and show you guys. Yeah. All right, so we're going to wait, that's the wrong screen. Hold on, y'all.
Thank God it was anything psychotic. Podcast gets canceled for showing links.
Hold on, y'all.
Yeah, I do apologize for being a little later than usual. I went to order from a restaurant nearby. They said 10 minutes. It was like 30 minutes later. I'm here sweating inside a new shop, but I feel like that corner is bad luck for us every time. Since like 2020. This is just me ranting, killing time as we just start adjusting things.
There we go.
Now I can shut up.
All right, so yeah, I just had to refresh the screen and whatnot.
Did you want to read it off first, or you want me to?
I'm gonna read it off. So everything announced at the Nintendo Switch at the Switch 2 Nintendo Direct, and this is coming from Game Informer, which last episode we talked about that hey, Game Informer have returned.
Yeah.
So this is their article,
Take
just
notes.
going over everything about the Nintendo Switch 2. Nintendo rolled out the red carpet for the Switch 2 in a big way this morning. A dedicated Nintendo Direct showed off the console's features and release date, and then Nintendo shared the console's price in a press release. We also learned of a number of new Switch 2 exclusive titles, a bevy of third-party software, and even enhanced upgrades for the Switch 1 games. If you've missed the live event, we've gathered up each announcement, divided them into categories for a quick and dirty recap of what's likely to be Nintendo's biggest event of the year. So, Switch 2 gets a June launch date and price.
Okay.
Nintendo's answer for the most burning questions for the Switch 2, when does it release and how much does it cost? And it says, okay, read more.
This is a link additionally, but that's a later.
So, Nintendo Switch 2 launches in June for $450.
You know, that's not bad.
It's not bad.
then as the article goes, it just goes like a question all Nintendo fans have been pondering for years has finally been answered during today's Nintendo Direct. Focus on the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2. The iconic gaming company revealed that a hotly anticipated hybrid gaming system is set to arrive on June 5th. Following the direct stream, Nintendo revealed on its press website that the console will be $449.99 or $449.99, and the box will include the following: a console, Joy-Cons, grips, straps, Nintendo Switch 2 dock, ultra high-speed HDMI cable, Nintendo Switch 2 AC adapter, and a USB-C charging cable.
All right, you can stop right there. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
The rest of this is going on to the next article, anyways.
Yeah, I know I still want to touch upon this because we're gonna stay on this Game Informer topic and whatnot. But
Yeah.
I do want to talk about the price and the launch date. It's in June, which is first week of June. This console drops, and the price. Now, most of us we were speculating. Okay, the Switch 2 is gonna be around $300 to about $400
Yeah.
around that price range, as we were kind of expecting. And if it was gonna go a little bit over, I don't think it was gonna go over to 500.
wouldn't
I would
think so.
say between 300 to 450 would be around that sweet spot for a much upgraded and better version of the Nintendo Switch 2. And lo and behold, $450 if you do the tax or whatnot. That's the cost of the console.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a bad price. What it's offering, as Waluigi went over or whatnot, it's not bad. It's pretty basic.
It's standard.
Yeah, it's standard. Like same stuff that you would get out of a current Nintendo Switch console. So same stuff or whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad thing.
It's
so
not. And if you pay like an extra $50, you get the new digital version of Mario Kart World. So it'll just be a $500 bundle.
yeah. And going back to the article, so we're going to talk about the Switch 2 features. And the article says from 120 frames per second gameplay to HDR, here are all the hardware bells and whistles of the Switch 2 has to offer. Going to click read more. Nintendo Switch 2 hardware details 120 frames per second, HDR, and more. Of course, I'm not going to go through all of that and whatnot, but
Yeah.
I am going to highlight a specific part, which would be I'm going to talk about right here. Hold on. I'm just going to highlight it here, and there's some other parts. So the Switch 2 features a 7.9-inch screen with double the pixels of the original Switch. The 1080p LCD screen allows for 120 frames per second and supports HDR with a focus on smoother gameplay. The system features a USB-C connection port on both the top and bottom, allowing for a simultaneous connection of multiple external devices or cables. Nintendo highlighted the ability to connect both on the charger in tabletop mode and the newly announced Nintendo Switch 2 camera. And I've also learned, hopefully they did talk about it in this article or whatnot, but I've also learned with, you can use any camera with the Nintendo Switch 2.
Oh.
That's what I've heard. I don't know if it's 100% true, but that is what I have heard.
Because I can imagine someone using like a normal 1080p standard webcam that can just be plugged into USB-C.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the screen. The screen is a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And it's LCD. I know a lot of people are kind of disappointed that it's not OLED, but I'm guessing if it was OLED, the console would have cost even more.
Yeah, they wanted to
being
keep it,
being OLED.
They wanted to keep it at a reasonable price / a little bit more economic.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand that situation. Then they're gonna have an OLED in probably a few years.
Yeah. So 120 frames per second. I mean, it's on par with PS5, where you can play your games at 120 frames. Xbox, you can play your games at 120 frames. So it's a for just the handheld. That's pretty good. That's not bad. I actually like that. That's it. That's an improvement. I just want to say that. That is an improvement. Someone will say that, it's LCD, but it's 120. 120
it's not too bad.
frames per second, 7.9-inch screen. That's not bad. And it has HDR, and it supports HDR. That's not bad. That's actually good.
Yeah, that's reasonable actually.
Another part I want to, I'm going to highlight, which will be around here.
As you're doing that, the USB top and bottom is really good, especially for people that are handheld charging. They don't want to be in any awkward positioning.
Mm-hmm.
That seems pretty neat, actually, for those handheld users.
The Switch 2 includes a built-in mic that can pick up your voice from a distance, and the mic features noise-canceling technology in case you're playing in a loud or busy space. The console also has a kickstand that can be set in multiple tilt positions for best viewing. Switch 2's audio features 3D audio that has at least some functionality, even if you don't have a dedicated surround system. Switch 2 boasts a larger, faster storage for its 256 gigabytes of internal storage, which is 8 times the storage of the original Switch. While the actual screen on the Switch 2 is 1080p, the new Switch 2 dock allows up to 4K resolution on a connected TV or other display. The dock also features fan ventilation to keep the console cool.
Oh wow.
So, again, this is an upgrade from the current Switch. I'm not knocking it, hence why, with just the base specs, I understand the price range. Like, I'm not arguing the price range. It's actually pretty decent,
It really is.
especially the fact that, hey, it's coming in with 256 gigabyte of storage, which, if you include the operation system, of course, it's probably going to be around maybe 240, 230 gigs, but that's a lot more than what the current Switch currently has.
What, 32 gigs? Or I think a little bit less.
I think somewhere around that.
Yeah, which probably holds like a few games. I mean, you're gonna have to delete some or get a newer USB, or I'm sorry, micro SD card.
Express.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's going to be the new thing. So, which the article also states in this part right here, the new Nintendo Switch 2 game cards are the same shape as the original Switch game cards, but they're now in red color and feature faster data read speeds. If you wish to add additional storage for your Switch 2, you'll need to use micro SD express cards,
Damn.
which enable high-speed data transfer. Players can transfer data from their original Switch to the Switch 2 by logging into a Nintendo account and transferring over the saved data and digital games.
So that's
So-
how it works.
Yeah. So with that, yeah, you're gonna have to use a much faster memory card to write games, and then of course for the console itself to read the games, because average micro SD cards are not gonna cut it. Which there was backlash on that. Some people were not too happy about that, but
Yeah.
I'm like, I can understand that point, because with the current PS5, with the current Xbox Series S and X, they use SSD.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to also translate that with the Switch, which is handheld, the console itself, which is, the little tablet or whatnot.
Yeah.
It's going to require a memory card that can read fast. So I'm not against that.
Yeah, you can't knock it.
Even though they are expensive, they are pricey, because I did check online for a 1 terabyte micro SD Express. A 1 terabyte is going to run you about $200.
Yeesh.
But if you were to get a 1 terabyte SSD for your PlayStation or your Xbox, I think it's a lot cheaper. Much, much cheaper.
Okay.
But again, I'm not knocking that, because this is what you are going to get with a new console, better hardware, better specs. So that's going to require better additional hardware, additional accessories to have a functional equipment that you're going to play on. So I'm not knocking that. So let me go back. All right. Switch to pre-order details. Yeah, let's talk about the Switch 2 pre-order details. Here's how to pre-order a Nintendo Switch 2. Pre-ordering at participating retailers will go live next Wednesday, April 9th. At the time of publishing, retailers have yet to prepare their individual pre-order pages, though Best Buy has a link to sign up for updates. But they will likely be updated within the next few days. That said, based on recent console launches have gone, PlayStation, Xbox, it will likely be a fairly frantic process, with scalpers attempting to buy up stock and reselling at a higher price. Once we learn specific launch times, you want to be right on the webpage the moment it goes live to maximize your chances. To avoid that scramble, you can grab your console directly from Nintendo, but there's more to that process than meets the eye.
Huh.
If you head on over to Nintendo's website, you'll be able to sign up to indicate interest in purchasing the system once they're available. To be clear, this is not a pre-order, but a sign-up list to indicate who might want to pre-order. So there's no payment information required. You will, however, need an active Nintendo account. More on that below. Once you sign in, you can choose between a base system, which is $450 USD, or a bundle, which includes a digital version of Mario Kart World for $500.
Okay.
So here's the requirements. The account must be the one that purchased a Nintendo Switch online membership.
Okay.
That online membership must have been active for a minimum of 12 months. And you must have opted to share gameplay data and played at least 50 hours of games. This is to deter scalpers.
That's true.
And when I looked at that, like when I was like, scrolling on my timeline on Twitter, when I looked at it, I said to myself, I don't knock this because this is a deterrent to stop scalpers, because they saw what happened with PlayStation and Nintendo and how disastrous it was, to the point where you had people like myself and you, we had to wait a year to get our console.
It was painful.
Yeah. A lot of people, like, especially during that time, of course, it was during the pandemic, 2020. A lot of people tried to get a PS5, and it was difficult. It was very rough. Hence why most of us have started the PS5 console generation at least a year or 2 years late because of that. But with Nintendo, they was like, "Nah, we're not gonna follow in their footsteps. We're gonna do something a little bit different," which I will commend them for, because this is actually a good step for Nintendo.
This is actually,
and I hope in the future, if we are going to get new consoles, that they implement this.
They take the next step.
Yeah, like PlayStation, implement this, like, so that way your gamers, the people who are on the PlayStation Network, who subscribe to PlayStation Plus, like, we should be the first ones to have access to pre-order and buy your console.
Oh,
It should be us, not these other scalpers who are just waiting in line and then using bots to just secure a PS5 or whatnot.
That was definitely a disastrous take. That made me lose interest in PlayStation for such a long time.
Oh, it definitely
But
did.
Nintendo actually doing this is not a bad movement.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you got to go through these steps. If not, good luck, and you can wait like everybody else. This deters scalping heavily, and I commend them for this.
Oh, yeah. I want to talk about this one. Nintendo reveals a C button functionality in the form of game chat.
Oh,
People were making such a big deal of this. I'm just like, okay, it's just game chat. Like, I was like, when I saw the direct, I was thinking, oh, okay, y'all gonna have a Discord integration,
No.
just like with PlayStation and Xbox, where
I don't think
Discord is integrated. It's like, no, it's not. And I was like, oh.
So it's just minimal to the actual game.
Yeah.
It sounds like. And you know what? That can go wrong and right in so many modes, because we're both grown adults. We know how the internet is. We know how society is. Unfortunately.
Yeah, so chat, if you can see on the screen, you see the main screen, like someone's playing on their TV, and then you see all these other windows opened of all the other 4 people that are playing Mario Kart World. And I'm looking at this, I'm just like, bro, this looks like Discord.
Yeah.
Like if you were playing a game on this, you're playing the game and you want it to be shown on Discord or whatnot with you and your buddies or whatnot. Like, this is exactly what it would look like on Discord.
Yeah.
Am I not wrong?
You are not wrong at all. Watch me get my ass kicked in 4K. I'm sorry, 120p.
Bro, when I was watching, I was like, especially when you look at the other players' like perspectives or whatnot, like when you see them playing, their point of views, it looks so laggy.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, oh my god, this thing is dropping mad frames. Like, ooh, this does not look good.
No,
But hey,
it doesn't. It's innovation.
yeah, it's definitely a new gimmick. Here on the article, it says, unlike the game footage, the frame rate of this footage does not look dramatically reduced, though I'm sure that will depend on your internet speed.
And most likely the camera, if Nintendo cameras are actually like the real deal.
Yeah,
That
so
worries me. Especially of how people are with cameras.
yeah, do I think there's gonna be like some craziness that's gonna happen?
Yes, I think 100% yes.
Could be, but I don't see that. But
It's not going to be often.
Right. It's not going to be like how it was when the PS3, not the PS3, the PS4 when that launched, and people got it with the cameras and whatnot, and then you would have people live stream, like on either Twitch or UStream at the time, and those were some crazy times.
Yes, there were. Unfortunately,
Those are some
that's like
woo,
that's
some
like
real crazy times.
back
So I don't.
when they got away with Google videos and all that such.
Yeah, so if for those that don't remember, like the PS3, like the first couple of months when the PS3 first launched, and people were live streaming, like, hey, we now have the ability to live stream. You had people streaming on Twitch and UStream, which was under I believe it was under Ubisoft at the time, UStream.
Lord,
But yeah, people were streaming on that, and there was some craziness that
I'm-
took
I
place.
feel like I was so late into that. I'm glad. I feel like that's a relief.
Like I would say, people were doing some not safe for work kind of activity. If you get what I mean, especially on UStream, because woo,
For those that don't know what that means, go outside, please.
hey, they put on a show, so I'm not gonna knock.
I don't
want
want to know the show.
They
now
put
you're
on a
making-
show for
Bro,
the people.
I don't want to know the show. So the pre-order details, the C button for game chat, and also that Nintendo camera does seem interesting. Then new first-party game reveals.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like they had a good choice of like games to present.
So yeah. So first one being Mario Kart World arrives Switch 2 at launch. So this is going to be a launch title with the Nintendo Switch 2 Mario Kart World. And looking at the gameplay, I was like, oh, I like this.
I do too. Especially
I
with
like
the
it.
C chat enabled. The C chat enabled, and the fact you're able to go off road and find certain things that you can discover within the game, or you
Mhm.
can cruise around with your friends. I'm like, that's super dope.
Yeah.
That's something like instead of just racing around course by course, you guys can just drive.
And it's up to 24 players.
What?
It's up to 24 players. So imagine you're in a race. You're in first place. I'm telling you right now, you're going to have a lot of people that got some blue shells, some stars, some bullet bills.
They have some words to say. What you on about? They got some slurs.
And now you're going to have what? Game chat? Oh, this is going to be good. This is the right game for it.
You're gonna have those kids that are screaming at the top of their lungs, and the adults that are screaming at the top of their lungs.
Oh, yeah. This. I like what I saw with this game, and you know Mario Kart being one of those legacy games that if you've played it since the Super Nintendo, like I have, you've played every Mario Kart, and it just evolved and just got better and better over the years or whatnot. Yes, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is pretty much a more better version than the Wii U version because Mario Kart 8 is from the Wii U.
That is true.
So I was thinking this is gonna be Mario Kart 9, but it's Mario Kart World and it's open, and I like the concept of it. I like some of the,
Diddy Kong Racing.
honestly, I can see that.
I hate to admit it, but it's
Honestly, I
like
can
some
see
Diddy
that.
Kong Racing shit right there. That's the type shit. But then they have, I don't know if you want to read more into it or you want to go to the next couple games because I know this is going to be
Yeah.
a while because they have Donkey Kong
Bonanza. That looked good, and
Yes, it did.
for a 3D platformer, as the article mentioned and whatnot, I was thinking that Nintendo was gonna go with like a brand new Mario game, like for their launch. Even though Donkey Kong Bonanza is not a launch title, it's not. But they featured it. The fact that we did not see like a main Mario game, usually as their
like
you know,
Odyssey, for example.
like an Odyssey, yeah, or on the Wii U, it was Super Mario 3D World. We didn't see that with the Nintendo Switch 2, but a new Donkey Kong game,
Oh, I know. That's
which
so
was a complete
shocking.
shock. I was like, you know what? I like it. I'm fine with that. And then, of course, what I liked what I saw as well in the trailer. So if I wanted to pick up a Nintendo Switch 2, like I would definitely pick this game up.
That's true. Then you have Kirby Air Riders.
Oh yeah,
That
like
trailer looked hard. It went
Yeah.
hard as fuck.
yeah, those who have played, as the article said, like you know, this is a GameCube favorite racer. Like many people who love the GameCube version of Kirby Air Riders was waiting for years
I feel
for
like-
another one, and now finally their prayers have been answered. You're getting one.
Oh yeah. What I was more impressed of, Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment.
Yeah,
They have like another similar to a hack and slash Legend of
Dynasty.
Zelda.
Yeah,
Yes.
Dynasty Wars. Yeah,
I love that voice acting in Zelda.
So another, for those that did loved and enjoyed Hyrule Warriors, hey, you're gonna get
Yeah,
another
it's
game.
been a
So
minute since they last about.
oh yeah,
talked
so
about it.
it's good. Like these games, these first party IPs from Nintendo, good, solid.
Dude, these memes for Dragon Drive are ridiculous. I've been seeing about the mouse controlled comp basketball game.
Yeah,
Are you,
I wasn't feeling that.
It was so funny. I'm laughing because like there are people that are handicapped that are laughing about this too. And the fact you can use the mouse, you're just like using your left, you're using a turn, and then like you're also like shooting.
Yeah, like you're using the
It's very-
Joy-Con as a mouse. It's like it's so weird.
It's very interactive that they're making these type of games, or at least to announce it.
Yeah,
Like for at least a good 4 to 5 games, like that is a good start.
Yeah.
Then you have the third party games, and that's where shit gets crazy.
oh yeah. We got FGC Gabe in it.
I know, I see him. What's good, homie?
I hope we get Smash Bros with live chat. It's listen.
Honestly, it's hard to tell because Sakurai was focusing on Kirby.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna rule out Smash. I'm not gonna
Nobody
rule it out
does.
because Nintendo knows that is their $1 million seller. Like Smash has been selling millions since the N64. That is their $1 million baby seller.
That's like
So
every college and bars go-to game for people.
so if you've known Nintendo for a while, and you know when it comes to Smash, they never release Smash on like the first year of their console.
Second year, more or less.
Usually it's going to be next year because if you look at the Switch track record, the Nintendo Switch came out in 2017.
Yeah.
Smash Bros came out in 2018. So I would say we're going to have to wait for like a couple of more Nintendo Directs before they reveal the next Smash game. I have a feeling like they have one coming, and also if it's going to be a new Smash game or a deluxe version of the current one, which is Smash Ultimate, like Smash Ultimate Deluxe, because the fact that you have such a huge roster of characters.
And the question is, do you want to make a new roster again?
Yeah.
That's just the hardest question most people want to ask.
Oh yeah.
And then you got like third-party games. So they showed the Dust Bloods.
Yes. Oh, I want
didn't
to
get-
talk.
I did not get a chance to look at a trailer. I might look at it as we're talking, anyways.
Pretty much, I'm gonna say this. If you're familiar with Bloodborne, I would say this is literally our Bloodborne 2. It's just the fact that Sony, being Sony, didn't want to give the PlayStation fans a sequel to Bloodborne 2, nor do they want to port Bloodborne to the PC. Like, hello, you want to make money, PlayStation? You want to make money, Sony? How about you port Bloodborne to PC
They don't listen.
instead of another Last of Us? We're tired of it. It's old. But Bloodborne, it's right there. Even Miyazaki himself, the creator, said that it's not even up to us. It's on PlayStation.
That is true.
So From Software was like, you know what? Fuck it. We're not gonna get a Bloodborne 2. Hey, Nintendo. You want to have a Soulsborne game on your platform? Nintendo's like, yeah. All right. Here it is. Dust Bloods. And now the Souls community, like, oh my God, they're loving it. It's like, this is Bloodborne 2. We were supposed to have this, and we never got it. But hey, Nintendo was like, hey, we'll do it.
They're like, fuck it, why not? I'm looking at the trailer right now. It looks really good for the graphics. I love that little symbol in the guy in the back of his hand. And they have katanas. I'm like, this is very kick-ass. Like the graphic design, like the steampunk look. This has potential. I'm just watching one guy fly like Iron Man. Oh my gosh, big ass moon face.
Oh, Dan, I think you did call.
Don't tell me you muted the poor man.
No, I didn't hear it. So, let's
Wait,
give him a call.
this guy is sucking blood? What? Hold on.
Hold on. I'm gonna see if we can get this call through.
Don't worry, I'm just watching Dust Bloods.
Hello, hello. Hold on. Oh no. Hold on. Are you Dan?
Yes, it's me.
Okay, hold on. Let me get you connected to our mixer because for some reason it's not because usually I thought it would. What? Couldn't connect. Connect.
Okay, now I caught up to Dust Bloods. This looks like a good old trailer.
Hold on. Hold on, chat. We have a
F,
caller, but I got to.
F Last of Us. I love that.
Okay.
You tell him, Gabe.
All right. Let me try this again. Because the Bluetooth device was connected to the computer.
Oh.
Okay. Hello, hello. Dan, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Oh, hold on. Hold on, let me take you off speaker. All right, speak.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hi.
There we
Now-
go.
now-
All right, now we're cooking. All right, Dan. Give us. I mean, tell us who you are, where you're from, and give us your thoughts.
Yeah. Name's Dan, I guess, and I'm from Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my thoughts for the Switch 2 is for the sake of just, I mean, it's really great, but my problem is that I think as though, well, the price being 450 is justified and all that, but it's the pricing in terms of the games themselves.
Oh, yeah.
It's more so I rather it be just the standard being 60 as opposed to 80, which is just kind of just a little bit more. I want to say a little bit too much.
No.
No,
You're definitely spot on
That's
that.
valid.
Yeah, because I mean, meanwhile we are going to talk about the price pretty soon or whatnot. But yeah, definitely like the price thing. It's
It's insane.
it is definitely insane, especially for the games because the fact that I mean, might as well talk about the price thing right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm ready for this.
Yeah, we might as well. So, my issue with the whole price thing is the fact that with the Switch 2, and I did some research on this to look at the whole, tariff situation and whatnot that's going on in the United States. For physical, I can
Which
understand.
yeah.
For physical,
Okay, which I also was reading on too, because
wow.
from what I was looking up, apparently it's a way more cheaper than Japan, and so is the games at $60, opposed to we're getting 80 here.
Yeah. Right. So with the physical part, it's like okay, I can understand the physical media. It's going to cost a little bit much. That I understand, but the digital makes no sense. Like it should
Not a
be.
single
It,
sense.
it should be.
Hello, you guys still there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, Lord.
You
Let's-
guys disconnect.
No, we did not.
No, we can hear you.
Let's see. Testing.
Can you still hear us?
Awkward. Something's on the fritz. Or the audio could have been switched, possibly.
No, like he's still on.
Oh.
Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm like, did you guys disconnect?
It was
Oh no.
It's a new thing we're trying out.
Yeah. So But-
Okay, it's fine.
okay. Yes. But yeah, back what I was saying, like when I was looking at the whole terrorist thing, like to see what's affected, what's not affected. Digital media is not affected. So my thing is, why is the digital media? Why is like the digital cost for this game, for the games for the Nintendo Switch 2? Why is it so high when that should not be impacted? If anything, the digital should be stupidly cheap, or at least on par with how it is in Japan. It should be at least $50 to $60 for these games, not this absurd price that we're seeing.
I agree.
Exactly. When it's a scary precedent now, for the sake of just when Tears of the Kingdom dropped, it was $70, which weirdly enough, it was the only Switch game that was $10 higher. But now, when it comes to Switch 2 being $20 more, it's just it's still just ridiculous because
Yeah.
and even more so with, I mean, it's cool that Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild are both getting Switch 2 updates in every other game now, but the only thing that irks me is that I have to pay we have to pay more in terms of just the extra features that the Switch 2 can handle,
Yeah.
which is
Mhm.
just a lot more money down the drain for us anyway.
Yeah, like I don't see like it's for what the Switch 2 is offering, it does not make sense and it feels like it's a giant ripoff to a lot of gamers, especially to me. Like it's a huge ripoff because the fact that the price of these games and how these games are performing until we see even more performance results, they're not even on par with the PS5, what's currently out there right now. Like the Switch 2, like when I look at the specs, it's not better than the PS5 base. It's better than the PS4 Pro. I will give it that, but it's not better than the PS5.
But if we're talking
And when we
handheld, there's
but
also-
when we and also when we look at the game quality, like on the screen or whatnot, it's like the graphic fidelity is not on par with a base PS5 game that's playing on just basic settings, not performance mode, not high quality visual mode, just basic. Like, and it's just like this is like what Nintendo is asking for or is trying to sell these games for. It's not in line with what we currently are experiencing with the PS5 and the X series or even PC. Well, PC, I'm going to leave that out of the conversation. But with X series and PS5, just the base, it's like it's not
It's nowhere near it.
it's nowhere near it. It does not make sense. This is a complete ripoff. Now, with their first party games like Mario Kart World being that stupidly high, no, because for digital it should be stupidly cheap.
And plus, what's even worse is that it's 500 if you get the Switch 2 with Mario Kart World,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which just ridiculous even of itself. And so it's just like pick your poison. You either get Switch 2 with barely no Switch 2 games unless you have the first Switch, or just get the new Mario Kart.
Yeah, it's like a pick
Yeah.
your poison situation, and it's
Oh, yeah.
also like not even competing with the Steam Deck. That's a whole different.
Yeah,
topic.
that's also exactly because the Steam Deck is just way more better than the Switch 2 at this point.
Yeah. I would say the Steam Deck is the best affordable option right now for your handheld on the go gaming. Like it offers more.
Even the Rogue Ally, which no one really buys anymore.
Literally.
It's
Which is also just a shame because most PS5 games nowadays are just going to get ported to PC at this point. So it's kind of just like, what is even the point of buying a console nowadays when PC is just, I guess, it's just the most recommended answer.
Yeah.
agreed.
But with Nintendo, they're not porting none of their first party games to PC. They're gonna stay on Nintendo, which I understand
Yeah,
because Nintendo
Mhm.
is very, very strict when it comes to their first party games. But with this move of their games being stupidly expensive, like it costs more than a PS5 game, yet the hardware is not even on par with a base PS5. It's just like, yo, this ain't even mathing right. Like I saw somewhere on Twitter, I think I've retweeted it or whatnot, where Elden Ring is running at 30 frames per second.
I read Cyberpunk was running 40 frames per second.
Yeah, like if these games, these other third party games are not running at 1080 60 locked, and I'm not talking about, some dips here and there. When I'm talking locked, like if it can't run it locked, then you should not be selling these games you shouldn't even sell them above $50.
Exactly. And plus, grateful for me because had I had no other options, I would just maybe for me because I say for the sake of just because I have a PS5 now due to some very good friends who got it for me.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's awesome.
I say if I didn't have that, then I would just buy a PS5 at that point and not get a Switch 2. If I can play Elden Ring well on that, then the
Yeah.
Switch 2.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I definitely do agree with that.
Mm.
You have many options, but a Switch 2 doesn't feel like a good option.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd feel miserable if I just spent $500 and then I have to find out to spend another $70, $90 with tax included at a GameStop to pre-order. Like seeing Pokemon Z through A is just so awkward. And then some of these games are going to be on the Switch as well, or Switch
Mhm.
1. The math doesn't math up. I don't
Yeah.
even know how much the new games that are going to be on the Switch 1 still are going to cost.
Probably around that same price if we're
Oh my
being
God.
honest.
That would give me a headache.
Honestly, it would. Because I miss when games were 60 and not as stupidly high as we get,
Oh yeah,
as stupidly high as we get now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah. Which is why I always encourage gamers to, for one, take advantage of sales. If there is a sale, take advantage of it. And two, look at games that don't cost $60 or $70. Look at some $50 games. Look at some $40 games because
Mhm.
those games be some real gems, some real underrated gems that people just do not know about, and they end up being really good, really quality games. And you're just like, man, I wish there was more. Like prime good example, and Waluigi knows this game too. Helldivers 2,
Yeah.
$40.
Yeah.
$40, and it's like, we got so many hours out of that game, and
Yeah.
it was money well spent.
Crossplay included as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure Nintendo gets it. It's not going to work. But vendors games
basically.
like Balatro that are like $14 for a rogue card game.
I heard of Balatro.
It's a fun experience if you really want to kill time and learn poker without really playing poker. But for $14,
Hmm.
it's worth it because it's endless.
Well, I should pick it up on my list sometime.
Yeah, it's hard to explain, but once you look at like one video or at least the memes, you'll understand.
All right then. But yeah, I think those are my just 2 cents on this whole, I guess, debate about just the Switch 2 in general and just $80 being the new standard now as opposed to just 60 as it always been at this point.
Yeah, well said, homie.
Yeah, appreciate you calling in and giving us your thoughts. And hey, I agree with you. Like it's the price. It doesn't. It's outrageous for what we're getting, and the quality. It's just compared to the competition. It's just like it's gamers have the right to feel like we're getting ripped off here.
110%.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Dan, thank you for appreciate you for calling in.
Thank you so much, homie.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, you have a good one.
And also, cannot wait to see you guys, I guess, in person next month.
Oh yeah,
Oh snap! Looking forward to that.
me too, homie.
Yep. Just gotta practice and stuff. No pressure.
Nah, just be
Gotcha.
yourself, homie.
Yeah,
You need
yeah,
to
yeah.
practice. Just jump in and have a good time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, well, thank you for guys for, well, I guess calling me back, I suppose. But
No
can't wait
problem.
to see you
for-
guys in a
thank you
few
for
weeks.
accepting
Not
once
a
again.
problem.
One
Thank
love,
you.
homie.
Mm-hmm. Bye now.
Let's,
All right.
let's see. So we talked about the pricing, how extra it is.
Yeah. So hold on. I did want to go. All right. So I'm gonna just speed run through this article real quick.
Yeah, it is a hefty article, but it's a really good one.
Yeah. So another big one is Switch 2 updates is the Nintendo GameCube games are coming to the Switch
Oh, I
2.
did see that.
Yeah. So there's some games that are gonna come in, and
They're bangers.
yeah, the biggest one that people are wondering is Smash Melee. It's gonna happen, and I have a feeling.
Lord.
I have a feeling that if it does happen, there is going to be online for it. It's going to happen.
With the amount of Nintendo charging Slippy that whole instant, yeah. Or the fact that you can't stream a Smash tournament.
Hey, we'll just have to see. But I think Nintendo knows that community. They know the Smash competitive community. So it's, as I said, if they have not mentioned or anything about Smash now, we just have to wait and see because they know Smash is their $1 million seller.
Bro, you know what I'm excited about?
What's up?
People dogging on other Smash players for not using an Ethernet port.
Yeah.
Because we forgot to mention with the dock, it has an Ethernet port now.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse.
Same with the current Nintendo Switch OLED. It does have the actual Ethernet port, so there's no excuses now.
Oh no.
No excuses, not Smash Bros. But anyone gaming on Nintendo and you're gaming online and you're using crossplay because Street Fighter 6 has crossplay and it's going to be on the Nintendo Switch too.
If I get cooked by someone like this, I'm quitting. The game. I am not gonna get.
All I'm going to say is, listen, there's an Ethernet port now. Use it.
Next thing you know, Guilty Gear Strive is gonna be more relevant on the Nintendo Switch 2. Is it too late to retire? I think it is. Anyways, but yeah, the fact they have Pokemon XD, Gale of Darkness, and Strikers.
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion and Pokemon Coliseum, like these are banger games.
Oh yeah.
That would sell me if I actually wanted to buy this thing.
Same. Several Switch 1 games are getting enhanced Switch 2 editions,
Oh.
which I'm like, cool. The only problem is that, like, the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, a game that's like what 8 years old,
Yeah.
the Nintendo Switch 2 version is $70, and I'm just like, that is a ripoff.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
For an 8-year-old game, that is a ripoff. And even though if you were to buy the game, let's just say used, the upgrade is an additional $30.
They did mention some games that are going to be backwards compatible, such as like Super Mario 3D World. They have ARMS, Odyssey, Link's Awakening, Echoes of Wisdom, Game Builder Garage, Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, the Scarlet and Violet Pokemon games, Big Brain Academy. Wow, I forgot about that Nintendo days. But the fact they have versions of Metroid Prime 4,
Mm-hmm.
the Switch 2 edition, that's insane. So at least they can accommodate the other people who can't get a Nintendo Switch 2. But then, as I mentioned earlier, they have Pokemon ZA or ZA. But they have a Nintendo Switch 1. That's actually is impressive. They want people to play this game. But the pricing is the real question of how much it's going to be, and I'm not sold onto it yet.
Right. Also want to show this on the screen. These are the specs of the actual Nintendo Switch 2. So the screen, capacitive, touchscreen glass, 7.9. We already went over that. The screen is 1080p, HDR10, VRR up to 120. So that's good.
Yeah, that is good.
But that also means that you need to have a monitor that supports HDMI 2.1. And those monitors are expensive.
Yes, they
Like the very, very expensive.
My wallet leaks just thinking about it.
So, I mean, if you have a monitor that has a display hertz of 120 or higher, you can still play it. You just might, have some screen tearing or whatnot. But for this to have VR, that's not a bad thing. CPU, GPU, custom processor made by NVIDIA, storage 250 gigs, communication, Wi-Fi, wireless LAN, Bluetooth, and TV mode. Nintendo Switch 2 can be connected by using the wired LAN port on the dock. I just want Switch 2 owners to know this.
Nah,
If you're going to
just let
compete
people-
online in any game, there is a wired LAN port on the dock.
Lord.
You just have to let it be known, because there's going to be some people that are just going to
They're not going to know anyways.
exactly, they're just going to play on Wi-Fi and just give
Even
us
if we say this and they acknowledge this from us, they're still going to ignore us.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
video output via HDMI, maximum 4K at 60 frames per second, TV mode, supports 120 when at 1080p and 1440p. So this would be good for me because I game at 1440p resolution. So
Damn. Fancy. Nah, I'm teasing.
I would say at least 1440p monitors are at least more affordable.
You,
So-
know, you are right.
But I've had 4K monitors before, like these monitors right here. These are 4K monitors, and I've gamed on them, and it's just like, it's nice, but it's like I don't care.
I have 1080p, so I can live. And then I have
But it's-
720.
Yeah, but it's all about the hertz. Like it makes a huge difference.
I forgot the amount of hertz I texted you my last one was. I'm sure it'll come back to me later.
I think it was like I think you told me like either 140 or 165.
I think it was 165.
That's good. That's
I
good
guess.
either way,
I can't say shit anyways.
because now when you game and you play your game at that hertz, and whether you're playing at 1080p or 144, it's a much different experience. And it's just like I can't go back to like nah. It's like you don't want to go back. Audio, okay, speakers. There's speakers on it, built-in microphone. What else? Micro SD, express card slot, the sensors, operating environment, internal battery, battery life, approximately 2 to 6.5 hours. These are rough estimates. Battery life will depend on the games that you play. So, short battery life, literally.
That seems very normal.
And charging time, approximately 3 hours while the system is in sleep mode. So, long charging time. So, you might as well just have it docked majority of the time unless you're going to go out somewhere. And then if you go out, let's just say you're traveling, whatnot, you're probably going to get like a good 2 hours out of it, and then it just dies on you.
And then you're just going to be bored on the way.
Yeah.
Unless you get like a Nintendo Switch car charger, then that's more money you're shelling out.
Carry a power bank, a very powerful power
You know
bank.
nobody's going to carry a power bank, bro. No one's even going to get a charger like I'm suggesting. We say this now, and then later on it's going to be like, oh, why did no one tell me this existed? Give it like a couple years or so. Technology's still advancing.
These are the games.
So
I want to talk about this one. Hold on. I'm going to pull this one up.
no, I just want to see which podcast topic I've seen you're on.
I'm going to the Nintendo.com. I'm going to pull up featured games. I'm going to talk about this one.
Okay, now I'm on there.
I'm going to talk about this one, y'all.
I'm listening.
The Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour that you're going to have to pay for.
Hi.
Right?
Hello.
All it is, like, if you have a PlayStation, if you have Astrobot, it's exactly the same, except it's just a Nintendo version that you're just going to have to pay for. Yeah, because the Astrobot on the PlayStation is actually free.
That is true.
So Nintendo, why do your gamers, your consumers, why we have to pay for this when the competition has their version of, showing off the console or whatnot, and it's free?
Your little blue person wandering around, each little part. Damn. They really show every little detail of a Joy-Con. And I wonder how much this game is going to cost. If it costs $90, I know people are going to throw a fit.
I would.
I would too.
I mean, I gotta try to find it. I think I have it.
If it's free, that's good.
No, it should be free.
If it is going to be free, that will be good. If not, Nintendo is just setting themselves up for failure. But I like the fact about the whole magnetic parts. That is actually dope.
Yeah.
Now I'm just looking at this little demonstration distracted. Like, they explain the anatomy of the controller too, and that's should be free. That 100% should be free.
Let me just pull everything up real quick. Let me just pull everything, so that way I don't have to keep switching the screens or whatnot, going back and forth.
That does make it easier.
Yeah, because I have for those that are watching and listening, I have like a list of articles and links of all things related to Nintendo Switch 2 that we're going to talk about that I can just, speak on.
As we're going through.
Okay, so.
Yeah, that Dustblood trailer looked good.
All right, so now we're going to go back. All right, features, HDR. I mean, we spoke about that. Okay, let me go on next. We spoke on that. Those are the topics. We spoke on the GameCube,
We did.
scalpers,
Wow, we sped through this.
games. The Nintendo Switch 2 was almost named Super Nintendo Switch.
You know,
It would have been good.
it would have been cool, but you know, it would have been lame at the same time.
Nah. Super Nintendo. Honestly, that was the name I was hoping they was gonna call the next Switch because
Probably the OLED one.
because it's still Switch.
But super.
But like their next successor that's going to succeed the current Nintendo Switch, I would have been okay with the Super Nintendo Switch. I would have been okay with that name.
SNS.
Yeah, why not? Because
I
if
guess they
any,
didn't want to confuse people. Was it SNES?
because think of the marketing that it would do. Because now you would be able to relate to people who are like around my age and people who are in their like 40s and 50s. Like, oh, there's a new Super Nintendo. Yeah, it's the Super Nintendo Switch, and and they could have sold limited edition consoles that had like the color scheme
You
of
know, you're
the
onto
s-
something, man.
exactly.
I actually agree. Now I understand the way.
Yeah, like they would have made so much bank if they just call it the Super Nintendo Switch, and then of course
But
the
you,
skin models after the Super Nintendo, bro.
but you know what? In all honesty, there would be fuckers like us talking about this. How it's a bad idea.
Oh yeah, y'all want to get the Super Nintendo? You mean
The $500 Switch.
no, the Super Nintendo Switch? Ah, okay. But they said you know we're gonna call it the Nintendo Switch 2, which
I mean,
I'm fine with that because you know you have PlayStation, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. Xbox is just be like, yeah, we're just gonna do our own thing.
360, X, Series X, S,
Xbox One.
Project Scorpio.
I remember those.
But then you have like multiple PlayStation versions, but Nintendo always gave something like Nintendo Entertainment System, SNES, N64, GameCube, and they have Wii U, or like the Game Boys, and then the DSs. Like there's a plethora of stuff.
Okay, so in this article, one interview question said, "How come? However, we haven't touched on the name yet. How did you land on the names Nintendo Switch 2?" The answer was interesting. There was a lot of ideas for the name, and we really struggled to find the right one. We even considered ideas like Super Nintendo Switch. However, the Super NES, which came out right after the NES, couldn't play NES games.
You know, you're right.
Since the Switch 2 can play Switch games, it didn't feel right to use the same name convention as Super NES. Switch 2 is a new system with improved performance, but we'd like players who get their hands on it and not focus on the specs, but rather think of it as the latest system developed by Nintendo. So in the hope that it becomes the new standard for Nintendo Switch, we named it Nintendo Switch 2, said Kawamoto.
That does make sense.
Yeah.
The way that's put, the way we said it sounds super cool with all the exclusiveness, but
Yeah.
the real concept behind it makes so much more sense. So that's a respectable approach for Kawamoto.
What is the Nintendo Switch 2 battery life? As we already said, it's like between 2 to 6.5 hours. But I'm guessing
I
you're
think,
probably going to get like 2 hours. You'll be lucky to get 3 hours
I think it
with
depends on the
heavy
game
use.
It depends on the game you're playing.
Oh, yeah.
High key.
Imagine playing Call of Duty Black Ops 6 on this thing.
What's up, Johnny?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, this is the homie I was talking about. But anyways, yeah, the Super Nintendo Switch, like, yeah, that gets the old heads like wired. That would. But at the same time, there's people like us that'll just say like, "Hey, are you sure you want to buy this?
Yeah.
The name is nice, but it could be deceptive."
And I'm just going through these links.
I know we put a lot, and I'm impressed. We were definitely ready for this, and we knocked it out within like
Oh, yeah.
4 of them.
So let me speak on this one. Switch 2 game cards are the same size as Switch 1. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, we talked about this. The Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller is actually nice because
Wait, there's a Pro controller?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we did mention this. Whoops.
there's a Pro controller. It looks identical to the current Pro controller for the Nintendo Switch, but there's 2 new back buttons that you can map it out to. You can map.
Oh,
So that's good.
that is impressive. I'm catching up in the comments too. You're not late. Don't worry. We've been, like I told you a while back, like we were just gonna rant about this and how serious this is. And also, what's up, Nick the Bear? Call of Duty on Switch would be diabolical,
Yeah, it would.
especially with the open seat chat and the camera. I don't think a Call of Duty would be a normal Call of Duty. A wireless GameCube remote, yeah, that would be clean. I know the Switch had one, and I'm sure the Switch 2 is going to have one that's exclusive, or
Right.
if it's compatible, because I'm sure it's just a dongle that you just got to plug in and you should be fine.
Right. All right. So on the screen, for those that are watching, we got the prices. So you have Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Nintendo Switch 2 edition, $80. That is a ripoff.
My wallet.
Street Fighter 6 Year 1 and 2 Fighters Edition, US version, $60. That is reasonable.
You know, that really is actually.
That is a reasonable price.
I was ready to have real tears if it was $80, but that's serious.
Oh no, if Street Fighter 6 was $80 on the Nintendo Switch 2,
They're out of
I'd be like, yeah, y'all out of y'all mind.
They're out of their minds.
Y'all are ripping people off, but you're getting Year 1 and Year 2 DLC characters at $60. That is a good price.
You know, I can.
That is worth a buy. What you was gonna say?
That is definitely worth a buy. Because I would have actually cried if it was $80 with all the DLCs and such. But then you have like, yeah, $80 for Kirby Air Riders. You have Mario Kart World, which is $80, but $50 if you get it with the bundle. You have the Switch 2 version of Breath of the Wild is $70. Bravely Default Flying Fair. That's a whole ass thing.
HD remaster, $40. I'm not knocking it.
Yeah, that's effort.
Donkey Kong Bonanza, that should be lower.
I'm like
$60, lower that.
I'm like, why is Kirby higher and Donkey Kong within that 10?
No, the Kirby game is currently on the Switch. That's just a Nintendo Switch 2 edition.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like,
So
the new
it's like-
game is $70.
Yeah,
That's
like
what I'm processing.
Bro, this pricing it makes no damn sense. Like
why are the remasters $10 more?
right.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Why is it $10 more?
why is a new game cheaper? Than
Why is the Switch 2 edition more than a new IP like Donkey Kong Bonanza? Why is that $70, but yet Kirby and the Forgotten Land, the Nintendo Switch 2 edition is $80? The math ain't mathing.
No.
Like, this is a ripoff.
This is high key a ripoff.
You have Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, as I said earlier. That game came out with the Wii U. This is an 8-year-old game, and they're selling it for $70.
That's just
Bro,
wrong.
that is a fucking ripoff. I don't care.
You're gonna have to put a gun in front of me to buy these games. But also,
That should be at least minimum $50 because of how old it is.
and then you see the Switch 2 version of Mario Jamboree plus Jamboree TV for
$80, and that game is available on the Switch currently now.
math is not mathing here.
It really isn't.
This looks diabolical. There's not even DLC that's mentioned in Mario Kart World.
Like, Chad, are we crazy for speaking on this? Because the
Yes.
fact that
Yes.
many of us gamers are coming to the same conclusion that when it comes to these prices for the Nintendo Switch 2 with these games, it just does not make any sense. Like, what the hell, Nintendo? Like, y'all are trying to rip us
I do not want
off.
to give my money to Nintendo anymore, Johnny. I can't. Like, imagine DLC just being $40, and it's not even a part of the game.
And something tells me, like, this is just if you want to buy the game physical. Okay, so if I were to do $10 less, then, okay, Kirby and Air Ride, that's $70, still a ripoff. Street Fighter 6 Year 1 and 2 Fighter Edition, $60, $50, not bad. That's actually,
That's what they haven't claimed yet. That's the weird part. They haven't claimed it truly.
yeah. Mario Kart World, I'm sorry, that should have been the same price as Street Fighter 6. They should have lowered that son bitch.
I agree. Because
Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition, that is an 8-year-old game with
it
just
should
better.
have been like $40, $50.
Yeah,
I can understand.
with what, better visuals and better performance, lower it. Brave Default Flying Fairy HD remaster, $30. Sorry, $30.
You know, have you seen that meme where someone's like spreading money around?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that with game cards, and it's like someone just showing someone you're broke. Like, just forget a money spread. Just show your game cards all on your wrist.
Bro, I haven't even got to the game card argument.
Oh my god, I knew we forgot something.
Yes, this right here, chat. All right, so the game key cards are different from regular game cards because they don't contain the full game data. Let me read that again. Game key cards are different from regular game cards because they don't contain the full game data. Instead, the game key card is your key to downloading the full game to your system via internet. So even if you bought the game, and let's just say you don't got no internet for the Nintendo Switch 2, right? You bought the game, you got no internet, right? You put the game into the Nintendo Switch 2. Remember, you got no internet. And guess what? You can't play the game because you need online.
That shit is so ass.
This is a fucking scam. And Nintendo has the audacity to charge fucking $80 to close to $90 for a physical copy of the game.
Like, this is ass.
I'm sorry, Nintendo, you can go fuck yourself with that one.
Oh my god, they're missing us. And then they give you step-by-step instruction on how this works. It's like step 1, insert the key card in your system. Like, no shit. Then step 2, download the game.
Like, look at this shit.
And then they're going on, like, the game itself isn't included in the game key card, so you have to download it before you can play. They remind you of this. Then they give you the features. Please note to download the game, you must have enough free space. They remind you of this too. And
Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna zoom this in. I want y'all to look at this, screenshot this, and remember this.
in case you're one of the
Play-
subs that buy.
Once the game is downloaded, you're ready to play. An internet connection is only required when you launch the game for the first time. After this, the game can even be started without an internet connection. However, like regular physical software, the game key card must be inserted into the system in order to play the game. At that point, you might as well just buy the digital game because they're like, you know what? We're trying to slowly get away from physical media copy, and we're going to raise the price on that. We're not going to keep it the same price as digital. So we're trying to force gamers into buying our games digitally.
Oh, Nick, we did talk about the anti-scalping briefly. We do respect it.
Yeah. The anti-scalping, yeah, we do respect.
Yeah, have like an online active membership of 12 months, play 50 hours, and it's by invitation, right? It's like not even it's an invitation, not like even a real pre-order.
Wait, what are you talking about?
The anti-scalping methods.
Yeah, so for if you're trying to pre-order a Nintendo Switch 2 from the actual Nintendo website, first you have to sign up for the sign up list so that way the pre-orders are available to you, and then there's a process that you have to go through. Let me see if I can pull that up.
It's like you can probably get your CDL much easier than this. I'm joking, but
Yeah, there's so much information. Support.
oh, you're going directly to the Nintendo website for this. You're seeing it live with us as we go through the Nintendo website, not clickbait.
Did I pass it? I think I passed it. Okay, how to buy.
Yeah, because we talked about it on the Game Informer, but I love how
Yeah, it
Nintendo
was on.
shit-
Yeah, we did talk about it on the Game Informer. So,
But I love how Nintendo just has it just like straight up.
so I'm gonna just pull up the link again.
Yeah, it just might be easier that route.
Pre-order details. Click that. All right. So here's the pre-order details. I'm just gonna highlight it and then I'm gonna zoom in so you guys can see. All right. The timeline here is different, however. Invitations from Nintendo won't arrive until a month or so after on Thursday, May 8th. They'll also come in waves with an additional invite sent out to eligible accounts until the store is open to the general public. Invitations will also only go to account holders that meet the following priority criteria. The account must be the one that purchased a Nintendo Switch Online membership. That online membership must have been active for a minimum of 12 months. And lastly, you must have opted to share gameplay data and played at least 50 hours of games to be considered priority criteria for Nintendo if you want to pre-order a Nintendo Switch 2 off of their website.
Real. Yeah, this is like a good topic, so we're happy to go back and forth certain pages just to go over.
Yeah,
Because
like,
this is a hefty topic, I will say
yeah,
that.
and of course, just like Dan Dan, for anyone else that's currently in the chat right now, if you guys want to call in, the number is pinned in the chat. Go ahead and call in. I got the phone here. You just let us know you want to call in, and we'll get you on and speak your piece. Say your grievances, or how do you feel about
Grievances,
literally grievances. You can bitch, you can complain about it or whatnot, like
thoughts, prayers, animosity.
about the Nintendo Switch 2, because as I said before earlier,
Yeah,
I'm okay with the price of the console.
I respect it.
Yeah, because the fact that, as I said, I was expecting between $300 to about $450. I was not expecting it to be $500 or whatnot for what I think it would offer. So at least that price point, I was like, okay, I'm fine with it, especially with the specs, because I'm not expecting this thing to be on par with a PS5. No. However, the games, what we see, what the games look like in the trailers, it's just like, no, I'm sorry. The price that you have for these games make no sense.
Not at all.
You have games that are currently that's on the Nintendo Switch at a much higher price than some of your first party games that are slowly going to come out,
That
like
are
the Donkey Kong game.
Yeah, then also Kirby Air Riders. Like, you have a lot of fun, productive things going on, and you're like, hey, our classics are gonna cost more. Fuck you guys. Like, I feel disrespected personally. But yeah, if you guys want to share your thoughts, the number's gonna be above the pinned post.
Let me see for how much is. Okay, this doesn't have the price.
Oh, are we really gonna watch
Kirby
the
Air
price?
Riders. It's unavailable. There's no price for it.
They're smart. They're ready for us. They weren't really ready for us. They're just ready for people to just to post and blow it up. But my goodness, this is just degenerate pricing.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
afraid to see how much a pro controller is going to cost.
I think it's about $80.
Ugh, God, the same thing as a game.
Oh, hold on. Let me check.
I'd rather get it the same way as you got mine by borrowing one time.
Let me look for that information for Nintendo Switch 2 Pro Controller. Like, look at these other games that are currently on the Switch or whatnot, like digital new releases, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. Mind you, this game is a Nintendo Wii U game, and they're selling it at $60. Should be lower, like at least $30 to $40 lower. But hey, they're gonna, Nintendo doesn't do game sales, so that should tell you something right there.
The magnets for the Joy-Con. Yeah, that is true. That is a nice feature, especially the slide out, but still not worth it.
Game chat. You might as well just put Discord in.
Yeah, Loki.
Just get with the program. Just put Discord. Make your life and everyone else's life a lot easier. But, you hear stories about Discord, how toxic it can be, things like that. Discord chats being leaked out and whatnot. I mean, believe what you want to believe, but.
Oh my God, I know about this off topic so well.
What off topic?
Not sure if it's off topic, but thoughts about the pricing affecting other console/publishers, EA and Ubisoft.
I think they're waiting to see,
They're waiting 100%.
like, once the console launches and debuts, how's the market going to handle it? Because if it handles it very negatively, they're going to switch course.
Mainly because they did mention that games or 2K games are going to be on the Switch.
Yeah. 2K, Madden,
WWE,
FC. Yeah, they're going to be on it.
the real sports games. They're not really sports, but that's okay.
But yeah, Nintendo Switch 2 Pro Controller, it's about $80.
Ugh, I just felt my wallet cough again.
This looks like your standard Pro Controller.
Yeah.
But the best thing about it is you have these back pedals where you can map out your buttons. So
That is
that's good.
that is actually nice. How much is the Switch camera?
I think about $50.
Yeesh.
That's not bad.
I know. It just throws me off. A camera with a little webcam. That's cute. But for $50 plus you're buying a console, then you're going for this nearly $550. I mean, it's not too bad. I'm trying to be optimistic. It's not working.
It doesn't even tell you what resolution or whatnot. So I'm guessing a base resolution of 1080p.
Probably. Or 720 the lowest, but they wouldn't go. They know better.
Let's look at the Joy-Cons, which is more expensive than the damn Pro Controller. The Joy-Cons cost more than the Pro Controller. What kind of shit?
That's brutal.
Bro.
Like, if you miss your... Dude, you know what I forgot about?
What?
Joy-Con drift.
If they don't solve that in the Switch 2, bro.
I think any crisis that's going on right now, like world hunger, could be solved before a Joy-Con drift.
Bro, $90 for a Joy-Con 2. $90
I was ready
for
to
the
take off my glasses.
Joy-Con
I'm
2.
not ready for this bullshit again. I can't.
Chat, $90 for 2 Joy-Cons for the
If you-
Switch 2. Meanwhile, the Pro Controller costs $10 less. Might as well get the Pro Controller. Fuck them Joy-Cons. But here's the best thing about the Switch 2, right? The Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons
yes.
works with this console,
Yes.
and the Pro Controller works with this console.
But it's just like,
So it's like, if you want to be cheap, go the cheap route.
just get a controller. I'm laughing because Johnny's like, the logic for it is that it's technically two controllers. You're not wrong. But
Yeah.
it's the price just feels wrong.
Bro, this is a scam.
This is filthy.
Like, you would expect at least the Joy-Cons to be a little bit cheaper than the Pro Controller, not the other way around.
Oh,
Oh, is that a notification? Yeah, it's a notification.
damn. I thought it was going to be somebody calling. But legit, that just feels like, this feels like a highway robbery system. I can't wait till people get the custom skins for their Joy-Cons. They're going to charge.
But of
30
course,
bucks.
the Joy-Con 2 wheel set, where it's 2 of them, oh, it's $20. That's reasonable.
Yeah, that is.
This is the one reasonable thing that Nintendo has is just the steering wheels.
I feel
The most reasonable priced product.
wait, because like you just gotta put the Joy-Con in. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That thing's gonna protect it for its life cycle. Like if
Then you have the carrying case,
I'm gonna look like I have to hold 2 swords just to protect a Joy-Con is
the
insane.
charging grip, Joy-Con. Okay, so, bro, just for one side, left side, $50. Right side, $50. Again,
Oh yeah, you're right. There's technically 2 mouses.
yeah,
Technically, I don't know the plurals for this situation.
but still should be cheaper than the Pro Controller. That's all I gotta say.
I still don't know the plurals, but you're right.
Still should be cheaper.
Oh my goodness.
Shit is a fucking scam.
Wait, I'm sorry. Is that that's a charging grip or that's a grip itself on the left?
Where?
Move it a little, your mouse to the left. Joy-Con 2 charging grip or changing grip. I couldn't read it actually. Lower, far left,
This one?
lower. Keep going down.
Oh.
Scroll down. Or up. I'm so sorry. Whatever direction you're, whatever brings the
Just look
screen.
on this screen.
God damn it, you're right. Just go lower. I'm paying attention to the stream. I'm embarrassed. It looks like a freaking controller, but you just put 2 Joy-Cons on it. It's like the older one. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing. That black bar, but that's not important right now. But the fact it's like $34.
Okay, so now I'm looking at the regular Nintendo Switch. Pro Controller, $70, and the Joy-Con left and right is $80. I mean, okay, I'll
sound.
I'll eat my words
What?
from what I said earlier, but still,
Wait, is that an alarm clock? Oh god, I'm looking at the stream again.
yeah, Nintendo Sound Clock. Yeah,
What is this dumb shit?
bro, I don't know.
I'm tired. I'm tired of Nintendo just robbing us. And look at the amiibos. How much are the amiibos?
They range from $15, $16
Okay, you know what?
to 16. This is Metro. Yeah, for two of them, they're like $25. But for one, I think it's like $16. So it's
Is that
not bad.
Are amiibos really worth it for the average gamer? Because I really don't know how to.
There's people that collect them.
I'm gonna sound like a boomer, but it's literally like Skylanders, but people just keep it boxed like Funkos.
Yeah,
I'm calling y'all out.
yeah.
I don't even care. But damn, amiibos being that range is, understandable. But Joy-Cons being $90 still blow my mind.
Yeah.
You're paying for a new game for 2 controllers. I'm just gonna wait maybe a year or two if I decide to get this and just get pre-owned Joy-Cons.
Let me go on Amazon real quick, yo.
I'm scared to see what Amazon got. I'm now focused on the screen straight
No,
across.
no. I gotta see the micro SD.
Oh, the Express.
Yeah, micro SD Express 1 TB.
What's the price, Silver?
Micro SD for 256. All right, 60 gigs. Let me do SanDisk because that's one of the more popular brands.
Yeah, SanDisk is pretty popular. Let me rotate this a little bit so I can look at the screen and focus. Yoink. Wow, it sounded like I twisted a neck. There we go.
Extreme Pro. All right, this is its Express. Show me Express. Damn you.
Express yourself. I'm sorry, that made me cringe a little bit.
Okay, I can't find it on Amazon, so SanDisk. I'm going to their website.
Ooh, need a back crack.
Memory cards. Micro SD. CF Express. No. Micro SD. 128. $44. Filter by capacity brand. Yeah, let me look at their 1 TB. Where is it? I don't see it.
Maybe Nintendo caught on. Dun, dun, dun. I'm sorry, I'm being dramatic right now, but
I don't see the micro SD.
they know. They know we're going to find out, expose the truth. We got some beautiful followers. Shouts out to you guys and people viewing right now. This madness right now of what we're looking for, an SD card to see how much it's going to cost you guys. In case you guys don't need a 256, but you need something bigger.
Yeah, because if people are going to have like the Switch 2 as their main platform, they're going to want to.
They're going to want to not even worry about just having memory. It's just fair. Because back then, only 32 gigabytes only covered 4 games, and you had to delete a game but not the memory, or you had to offload the game. That way you can preserve it. Because I've done it a few times.
Okay, so I don't see anything for a 1 TB micro SD Express, but for just the actual Switch, it's actually $129. So if I have to be a guessing man, it's gonna probably be double that price.
Of course it is. It's Nintendo. They want us to go broke.
Yeah, this is just insane, bro.
This is pure insanity.
Let me check my bookmark because I know I keep a lot of receipts. Oh, I got a good article. I can definitely talk about. I just pulled this up because I remember I didn't put it on the list, but we definitely gonna talk about it.
I know it's going to be something spicy if it's not on the list, but it's going to be right in front of my eyes and for you on the spot. Because how we do things on the podcast, a la carte. As in, we're serving you guys everything live. Damn, nobody on Twitch. Except like one guy.
All right, so all right, let me full screen. So, Chat, are we ready for this?
I'm not, but we're doing this anyways.
The Switch 2 not, this is coming from GameSpot. Switch 2 not aimed at people who want high performance hardware, says Nintendo.
What?
That title alone,
I'm sorry. I want you to repeat that one more time for the people that didn't pay attention.
yeah. Let me also, zoom in.
Yeah, good. Okay, I can see it.
Switch 2 not aimed at people who want high performance hardware. Nintendo never considered making the Switch 2 a piece of high performance hardware aimed at consumers who want beefier tech. Then explain the fucking price then.
Like, if it's not meant for like hardcore gaming or actual factors of people wanting to play games, why is it that price?
As I said, I'm not knocking the console, I'm knocking the games.
And the whole game key card process.
Nintendo never considered making the Switch 2 a piece of high performance hardware aimed at consumers who want more powerful tech. Takuhiro Dota from Nintendo Entertainment's Planning and Development Department made the comments in a part of a company's lengthy Q&A session following the Switch 2 Nintendo Direct. A Nintendo representative asked Dota and Koichi Kawamoto, also from the Entertainment Planning and Development Department, why the team decided to call the system the Switch 2. We already talked about that.
Yeah, pretty much.
The Switch 2 is a new system with improved performance, but we'd like the players to get their hands on it and not focus on the specs, but rather think of it as the latest system developed by Nintendo.
Ick.
I think we already talked about that.
I know, but that just sounds like a red flag completely.
From the beginning of development, we wanted the Switch 2 to be a system that could be enjoyed by a wide variety of players. I also wanted to create an experience that many players as possible could enjoy, rather than an experience made specifically for those who prefer high performance hardware. So we wanted a name that would communicate simply to potential customers that if you're considering buying a Switch, Nintendo Switch 2 is the newest system. Oops. That said, Nintendo did build the Switch 2 with a more power than its predecessor. During the Switch 2 Nintendo Direct, Nintendo said that the console will support 60 frames per second for games such as Metroid Prime 4 and includes HDR even in handheld mode. That's in addition to improved speakers and support for 3D audio.
Lord.
Someone should ask, then why are your games that expensive? Why are your digital games? As I said, with the whole tariff situation, I can understand the whole, physical might be a little bit cost high. But digital makes no sense
The math
at all.
The math doesn't add up.
It does not. Some of the games that they have on their lineup that actually shows the price, I hope they're just nothing but placeholders. But the pricing for some of these games just makes no sense whatsoever. And if it's going to be a digital game, it should be at minimum, if it's not a digital deluxe edition or a premium or special edition, at the base, it should be $60. At the base.
Johnny is spitting some facts.
What is he saying?
Well, they always consider their stuff as a console for fun and everyone, not a super hardcore console to compete with the other consoles.
Yeah. Because Nintendo typically would stand out on their own. They're not competing with PlayStation. They're not competing with Xbox. They're just doing their own thing. And you may say that they're not competing, but in a way they are, because of the fact that they're being the more affordable option. Like, if you don't want to do PlayStation or Xbox, come to Nintendo because we are the more affordable option. We do have a lot of games in our library. We have a lot of first-party games. Our online experience isn't that great, which, yeah, it really isn't.
It's atrocious. We all know this and done it from experience. But
And it is, and at least the monthly subscription for the online service is a lot cheaper than what PlayStation is offering.
Heavens, yes.
Still, Nintendo is usually known for like their family-friendly games and being that more affordable option for people that it's wanting to cater to, and that's usually that family-friendly audience. But when you look at the Switch 2, nothing about it is family-friendly, especially with the prices of them games. The console itself, as I said before, I am not knocking the price of the console. It was to be expected.
Yeah.
the price of the games bother me because
I'm more bothered about the remastered.
yeah, because there's a lot of inconsistencies. And you have two different prices. Usually, if you buy a game physical or digital, it's usually around that same price. But with Nintendo, they're just doing something completely different to the point where
It doesn't feel innovative. Actually.
yeah, it really does. It feels like it's a huge cash grab because if this console that you are going to put out come June, we understand that it's not on par with a PS5. So we are not expecting PS5 quality like games. Then why is the price of these games over exceeding PS5 games that are costing $70 at base? That makes no sense.
Sigh.
Yeah, and I have a problem with that. And for those that know or don't know, I am a tournament organizer and I do Smash tournaments.
Ah, shit. Here we go again. We're ready for this. I was ready for this as you were about to say this.
I do Smash tournaments, and I know for a guaranteed fact there is going to be another Smash game coming out. I know it's not coming out this year. Of course not.
Maybe
because
next
Nintendo
year.
never releases a Smash game on the same year that they release their new console. It's usually the year after. So, 2026, there's going to be a Smash game. I got to make sure, me as the TO, I have enough Nintendo Switch 2s to be ready for the next Smash game. And also, I got to know the price of said games because I already know that they're going to have DLC. So,
Oh, yeah.
what I'm hoping to anticipate is some overpriced Smash game for Nintendo Switch 2 that I got to run locals with. All I'm going to say is for you Smash players that go to locals, you better appreciate your TOs.
Give 'em
Go out of their
offer.
way. That go out of their way to get enough consoles to run a local, to buy the games, to buy the DLC, so that way, hey, they have enough to run a local and continue to keep doing it for a long period of time. We better see some numbers.
Yeah, you better dap up your.
Y'all,
if you don't-
y'all better not duck. Is all I'm saying.
You know Smash players already.
That's all I'm saying. Y'all better not be ducking
You know Smash players
locals.
already.
For the first
What?
3 years. For the first 3 years that the new Smash game comes out for the Nintendo Switch 2, I better not see y'all be ducking locals for the next 3 years. So that way your TO of your favorite choice that you go to, the local that you love going to,
They better not die. They better not be flopped.
y'all better be going there each and every week, each and every month. Go to their regionals, go to their monthlies, whatever. I better see y'all there for the next 3 years. I'm not even saying months, years. So that way your TO can make that money back from having to dump so much into getting enough setups, enough of the games, and the DLC for the next Smash game that's going to come out. We know it's coming out in 2026. I'm calling it now. Because if you look at Nintendo's track record, they release a new console, the new Smash game usually comes a year after.
This is gonna be an off-topic question for me. Do you think it's gonna cost more than GTA 6?
Bro, I'll quit. I will quit being a fucking Smash TO. I will quit.
If it costs more than GTA 6, that will be the funniest thing. Holy shit! If that happens, I will. I have to watch your live reaction.
Bro, when I saw them prices, I'm already. Y'all know that meme of if you scroll on TikTok or even Instagram Reels or whatnot. It's that meme of that dog that's just like
That's just like in bliss and just die once again.
and then you had that music playing in the background, just like
You hear that berserk theme? That's sad.
no, it's not the sad one. It's just like it has like that. Oh my god, I gotta find it,
I know we're searching brain rot at the same time.
bro. Hold on,
Never-
let me go to my meme folder real quick.
Never in years of the podcast I expected us to go into a meme section just for this moment specifically. I feel like I triggered something that should happen because somebody's gonna save us before me. That's crazy that there's a price higher before GTA 6 is released.
This one,
That one.
this one, chat.
Evan was seeing that meme too much.
This is the look of your Smash CEOs when they finally realize the price of the next Smash game. They're going to have this look. I'm going to have this look because I'm like, it's going to cost me an arm and a leg and probably like 4 or 5 mortgage payments just to have enough setups to run a Smash local.
Nah, at this point you gotta learn crypto or something.
And I better not hear y'all bitch if your local ends up increasing their venue fee just so that way they can make up the whole financial loss.
Like they had to hold that.
Yeah.
I love how Johnny's just like it's gonna cost more, more than GTA 6 because it includes characters from GTA. That would be hilarious.
That is why I said, listen, man, y'all better appreciate your Smash CEOs, man.
I just
Appreciate them if they're going out of their way to get all the enough setups to run their local each and every week, bro. Like, appreciate them because this shit is financially taxing, and
oh my god,
I know it's coming. That's all I gotta say. I know it's coming, of course.
like, should we do a bet seeing how much it's gonna go for? I say $90. We're not including season pass. I say straight up $90.
I'm not gonna bet on the price now because one, we have to see how well the Switch 2
Before Sakurai gets out of retirement.
No. Like no, Sakurai's already out of retirement.
I
He's
know.
doing he's doing Kirby.
I know,
But,
just, like messing around.
I don't want to put a bet number down on now because the fact that we need to see how much the Switch 2 does when it first released, and we also need to see how the gaming community respond financially with Mario Kart World. Because if that game flops, if that game flops and it doesn't meet sale expectations, Nintendo has no other choice but to lower their prices.
That's true.
That's how we gamers
Stand together.
regulate the games industry. Be like, no, you don't get to fuck us over with these
We also
absurd
gotta see
game
Japan
prices.
we also have to see Japanese as well, how they interact with this situation.
Yeah,
Because Nintendo of America and Nintendo Japan are like two separate sources,
yeah,
but they're most likely going to listen to like mostly Nintendo America.
yeah. That's why there was something that I also saw. Hold on. Let me go back to the podcast. Yeah, let me pull this up for those that can see it on the screen. The 3DS experienced a major course correction after a very lukewarm launch by slashing the console price by 1/3 and adding many amazing exclusive games to its library. Maybe we'll see something similar happen with the Switch 2. And look at the price. Was $250, now $170.
Wow. I did not know that.
Gamers, we need to do this with the Switch 2. That's the only way shit fixes itself. If we don't buy it after a week or a month, Nintendo would be forced to drop their prices. Be like, yeah, we can't get away with this. Because then other gaming companies are going to take note and be like, yeah, we're not going to try it. And probably Grand Theft Auto will be like, okay, we'll lower ours too. Because, if gamers are not going to, if it does not sell well, if the Switch 2 does not sell well, if Mario Kart World does not sell well,
Oh, it's cooked.
yeah, it's cooked. And now Nintendo will have to be forced to slash their prices.
I'm laughing because
This needs to happen.
I'm laughing because Johnny's like, nah, Nintendo thinks we're rich. The Japanese think we're just rich in cholesterol sometimes.
Bro, we're struggling, man.
Oh yeah, we're all struggling here. We're just two dudes doing a podcast struggling in this economy. We're
Literally.
being real with y'all.
Literally.
If you can afford a Nintendo Switch, power to you. And we hope it goes well.
At this point, you might as well just get a whatchamacallit, the Steam Deck. You might.
I agree.
I encourage you to get a Steam Deck.
I-
Skip the Switch 2, get a Steam Deck because guess what? One,
Emulation.
yes, you have a huge library of games on Steam. You also have lot of affordable games, game sales, and mod support, and most importantly, free online.
That
You
is
can't go wrong with that.
No, you cannot go wrong with free online at all.
No, you can't.
Meanwhile, $20 for membership. And then you're just getting emulation of extra steps when it comes to the GameCube exclusives, along with the NES, Super Nintendo, etc.
Right.
Yeah, you're just paying for free emulation. That doesn't make sense as a sentence, but that's what you're really paying for.
Yeah, I know a lot of people love the GameCube, so if they get the Switch 2 just so that way they can have play Nintendo GameCubes online, and if it has online support, because I believe F-Zero I think F-Zero X on the GameCube on the Nintendo Switch 2 will have online.
Really?
Yeah, so that's a big thing. So that's why I'm holding out that hope that if they do Smash Melee, they're gonna put online on it,
Yeah, they will.
and that is going to be a huge game changer.
Oh my god, I cannot imagine.
Now TOs don't have to worry about getting CRT TVs.
Not anymore. Or especially they still have like their last little light bulb inside.
Oh yeah.
Or just especially carrying that thing.
Yes.
Because like if you break it, you're cooked.
Oh yeah.
Because next thing you know, you're just going to go in a thrift store or look online. Hey, where's the closest CRTV?
Literally. And hopefully it works.
And you're going to have to find some grandparent God knows where. Or committed Melee players. I forgot Melee was just so heavy.
Oh yeah. But I think you and we have talked about
We covered a great
Yeah.
amount.
covered a good amount of tonight's subject or whatnot.
Yeah. In overall terms, it has a potential, but the price is not right.
Yeah.
Like the specs are nice for what it's convenient for, but there's many more options.
Yeah, like the specs does not validate the price of the console.
Not at all.
Nor does it. Let me rephrase that. The specs of the console, I understand the price because it is better than the current Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
It is, I would say, better than a base PS4. I would also say that it is a little bit better than the PS4 Pro. Slightly a little bit better because the fact that you can do 4K 60 for games, and of course you also have 120 hertz support. So that's better than a base PS4 Pro. I will give the Switch 2 for that, especially with the price
Yeah.
that it's being sold at.
I'll acknowledge it and give it respect.
The games, however, especially with the specs of the console, does not. I'm sorry, it's not worth the price. Those games are not worth the price, especially with the specs that you're putting it on.
It is an
Because there are games that are currently on a base PS4 that does not have PS4 Pro support that look better and run better on a base PS4 compared to what you see on the Nintendo Switch 2. We'll see with more games, with more third-party support. We'll see. But I'm not going to hold my breath on the whole price thing because it's absurd. It's a
100
ripoff.
110% absurd.
And for us gamers, we need to band together, put aside our differences. For once, we have the power to change the games industry to be like, hey, this Nintendo Switch 2, we are excited for it, but we're not going to pay the price for those games that you're going to want to put out for it. The console itself is fine, but those games, I'm sorry, I'm not buying them. No. Until we see change, until we see these game prices be slashed down to where it's reasonable and it's affordable, especially for digital. Physical, if you're going to do like, okay, $60 physical, $50 digital, okay, we can work there. Yeah. No deal. That's a good deal. We can do that. But until then, it's like, no. Gamers, we need to come together for this one.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the only way we make change, and that's the only way we tell Nintendo, like, you're not going to get away with this. Because you are supposed to be the family affordable console. that we've all know and love Nintendo for.
It just feels like
Com-
a family loan shark, in all honesty.
Literally. And the fact that compared to the competition, you guys should be cheaper than the competition. So that way you become the more affordable option and the go-to option to get it for, let's just say if we have, younger siblings, they want to get into gaming. Okay, I can get you a Switch because that's the cheapest thing we can get. And there's a good quality of games on there. Now, just like, we're going to go above and beyond.
We're gonna do real console prices that are extremely hyperinflated.
Yeah, that are that are higher than a current PS5 and X Series X game. Like, no, I'm sorry, that's way absurd. You guys are not. I'm not gonna say you guys are not Rockstar, even though Nintendo has been in business for over 100 years.
That is also true.
So, you can take that, and of course they've lasted longer than Rockstar. So, I will give them that. But, this price. No, it doesn't fly, and
even
you
the
will.
third-party games.
And if gamers do not feel for it and they don't buy it worldwide, you are going to fail even harder than the Nintendo Wii U.
Agreed.
So,
Man, the Wii U is crazy.
yeah,
It's practically almost been 10 years. Holy mackerel.
yeah,
Yeah, and still, like, if you're buying a third-party game for your Nintendo Switch 2, get it on another console, please, for the love of God.
yeah,
That's what that just indicates. Especially if you're spending $80-$90 on a Switch version that you can carry around when you can just get it on a Steam Deck or just play on a PC on your quality standards. I say your quality because most people don't play 720 or 1080 or 4K.
yeah,
Yeah, the only way they will be affected is if the console does not sell well, which we know it will. This is a console that most likely will sell, at least the console itself.
yeah.
I kind of want to see what they're going to do for Black Friday and Cyber Monday and such,
Mm-hmm.
or like those random discounts.
Yeah, we just have to wait and see. So, it's coming first week of June. We're just gonna have to wait see what those sale numbers look like.
My God, before we're going out.
I know.
Holy shit.
So.
This is going to be a fun session.
So that, without further ado,
I like how I'm just vibing before it starts. Man, these Nikkei tracks be banging.
absolutely.
Anyway,
First off, I just want to give a big thank you to all of our viewers, tuning in and
Yeah.
watching, and just being a part of this episode and just
yeah,
joining the conversation with us. We greatly appreciate y'all.
you're all definitely appreciated. Thank you so much for this.
And shout out to Dan for calling into the show and just
Yeah, shout out to my homie Johnny for tuning in, Vivi for watching, so many people, Nick the Bear, FGC Gabe, like people that are watching on YouTube, you guys are loved and appreciated more than you guys can imagine.
absolutely. And hey, as I said before, don't feel afraid to call in, guys.
Oh
Like,
yeah, or call us out.
Yeah, like don't feel afraid to call into the show or whatnot, and just give your thoughts on some of the subjects that we have or whatnot, because we invite these conversations. We want to have these conversations. This is the episode where we get to interact with you guys, because our Sunday episodes, it's all about our guest.
Yeah.
But our Thursdays episode, it's just us.
Just vibing.
Just us vibing, just talking about games and whatnot. If you have certain opinions of certain games or even the subjects that we talk about, like this is our time to just
Yeah,
go
like
over it.
if you want us to look at a game trailer or anything else, or like look at some article and just we can share our thoughts, that's perfectly fine too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like even games we played recently or games we're looking forward to, even if it's repeated, we'll gladly help y'all out.
Yeah. So that being said, like to thank y'all for watching and tuning into the stream. If this is your first time on our channel, go ahead and give it a follow or subscribe, either or.
Like and subscribe.
Like the stream, and yeah, we're gonna catch you guys later with a Sunday episode. Hopefully soon. We got a guest lined up, and yeah, just follow us on our social medias, and that will conclude episode 126 of the South Florida Gamers Podcast. Both myself and Waluigi are signing off.
Peace. I accidentally scratched this gap mid podcast, and I'm just like, shit, I'm and I'm like stopping the bleeding because I'm not a bitch. My coworker was talking about